Dear friends, happy to meet you all. Happy also to note your concern for progress in the spiritual aspect of our life. There is a mundane aspect which is overwhelmingly becoming important for us. So much so we tend to neglect the spiritual side. It is necessary that we should proceed on both the fronts equally well. There may be some talk later on flying with both the wings. Nobody flies with one wing. No bird can do that. Nor can we totally succeed with only materialistic approach. So, I should congratulate you for this much of viveka that you have got, namely that there is another side of our life, namely the spiritual aspect of our life. People tend to use yoga, even today, in many places, for material benefit only. They will ask me whether it gives you the blood control, blood pressure control, sugar control, or many other diseases with which we suffer. These questions are better presented to doctors rather than to a spiritual person. Though it has been a habit for some reason or the other, people tend to ask such questions. They belong to the physiological plane and better attended to by the doctors who know more about it. Incidentally, many things can happen. When you control the mind, the body also gets some amount of control. Yoga also has been confused with a lot of exercises, physical exercises. They do good. They are supposedly doing good to so many people, about which I am personally not aware of. Nor had I at any point of time any inclination to practice any one of them. So I will be the least competent person to talk about that. Though in the schools I was taught certain exercises. I was a good sportsman myself, and there the matter ends. I never took it to be a way of controlling diseases. This is enough as an introduction about other aspects of yoga. We are talking today about the efficacy of Rajayoga. By now you have been introduced to the subject of Rajayoga as a means of utilizing the thought force in us for union with the ultimate. Ultimate here means the cosmos, the entire life force, the entire energy. Some people prefer to call it divinity, some people prefer to call it God. I don't mind any definition you give for it, but there is a force above. We are not independent, we are interdependent. This is one fundamental truth that we have to learn in life. No person, however big he may be and however small he may be, can claim to be independent. We are dependent upon others, we are dependent upon the environment, we are dependent upon society. There are various relationships and the matrix is really very, very complicated. So if any person says that he is independent, we don't agree to it. The life force is there in all and in each one of us, whether it's a plant or an animal or a friend or a foe, it doesn't matter much. The same life force is there. There is a fundamental unity amongst all of us. Saints called it God. Some other people may call it by some other name. It does not matter much. God has neither a form nor a name. Call him by whatever way you like. It is what he is. He is just what he is. That is that. That's all. Om Tat Sat. That's all. There's nothing more. All other things are our relationships which we feel. As we feel with so many people, so many relationships, again go on changing our relationships with them, again rechanging them. Attitudes do change towards every person. A person who was a friend yesterday becomes all of a sudden somebody neutral tomorrow, and day after tomorrow perhaps inimical to your interest. These things do happen. Relationships vary, but the essence is always there. The essence of communication that is there between you and me is irrevocable. We always move in the same wavelength of divinity. There is one thing. Superficially, there are differences. Raja Yoga aims at arriving at that base thought which is there. This thought which is there, which is not colored with anything else, which we color. It is we who color the thought. The thought by itself has no color. Consciousness is always pure and simple. It is not tainted. It is not vitiated. It is in no way affected by any one of our relations or emotions. So what happens during our meditations is, when we try to meditate on a divine light, which is without luminosity, as the method is, I hope this was explained earlier. Divine light without luminosity is an impossible idea. We can understand light with some luminosity. We can think about some intensity of the light. We can think about so many things, color of the light. We can see the smallness of it or the bigness of it. But light by itself, without luminosity, if you can think of, you would have reached the highest stage of consciousness. But it is an impossibility. As I repeatedly say, it's an impossibility. Mind is not capable of comprehending that idea. The very purpose of this system of yoga is to make you understand that the ultimate is something that you will never know. It is beyond your mind. Your mind cannot reach. That is what the Vedas have said. Na tatra vak gacchati na mano na vijani. You cannot go there. You can't reach that. It's far beyond. Whatever you think, it is something other than that. Neti, neti. Whatever you say, it is not that. Something beyond. Something beyond. So this beyondness of the divinity is what we are trying to have access to. Because you have that in your heart. The mysterious thing is that which is far, far beyond us, our comprehension, is so near to us in our heart. It is beyond our comprehension, but it is easily comprehensible by your feeling. You can feel it, but you can never know it. You try to know through logic, you will never know. Nahi nahi rachati dukrun karani. No vyakarna can help you, no grammar can help you, no logic can help you. You have to understand only through your feeling. God's language is feeling. God's language is in silence, not in words. So long as it's a word, it's already distorted. Whether it is our Vedas or whether it is our Bible, it does not matter much. They are distorted. The original thing is the feeling. The feeling you have. That is why Nistrayagunyo Bhavarjuna, Vedaha, Traigunya Vishayaha, Nistrayagunyo Bhavarjuna. You have got to go beyond. That is the call of God. The point is, God is beyond the Vedas, the word. The essence is something that defies any structure. Any structure you try to give for God is something that is limiting God and chaining God in bondage. That which is free can never be bound. God by definition is free. Energy by definition is free. We can bind it in the form of electricity, in the form of magnetism, in the form of light, in any form that we like. But energy as such is something far beyond this. So this is a feeling that you have got to have. So when you start meditation in this system, the first thing that happens to you is that you become aware of the vibrations of the ultimate consciousness. That will be the first. I don't know whether you had already you were sitting. When you have your sitting, you will feel. Some of you will feel vibrations. Some of you will feel calmness. Some of you, as usual, will feel enormous noise outside and inside. How is noise outside? You can't help it because it is there in the road. Noise inside, it is your complication. You have got so many feelings, you have got so many attitudes, you have got so many thoughts, you have got so many responsibilities. All of them will come to you, one after the other. You try to sit down in calmness, you will find all these things coming together. You engage yourself in some task, all of them seem to disappear almost because you are task-oriented. Since you are task-oriented, your mind is only on that. When you try to empty yourself and then sit somewhere, all the thoughts will come to you, bombard you. And that is the nature of vacuum. Please note it. Vacuum is such, when you try to have vacuum in some place, all the air around you, try to enter that. You must be knowing that famous experiment of trying to heat up a tin, and then as it becomes, throws out the air, hot air goes out, put a cork, and then the shape of the tin is lost. For the only reason air wants to enter, it has no chance of entering into it, and then the can becomes totally twisted, wrinkled, totally out of shape. Similar is our mind. When we try to keep your mind calm, what happens is all thoughts will come to you. It is not thoughts which come to you, they are thoughts which are there in you, which are trying to go out, which wants expression, which wants attention. So many things which you forcibly put them down and then were attending to certain other things. They kept quiet. When you are calm, all of them will come to you. And then they want precedence to be established. Now I'll try to come. No, I am more important. So many thoughts. Some exams may be there. Some promotions may be there. Some responsibilities of going to the shop may be there. Maybe you have got to get certain things for your children. Maybe you have to attend to your parents. Maybe you have got something connected with your house. So many things. Every damn thing with which you are connected, everything comes there at that time. You really get confused. And then prefer, it is much better to have some one word by which I can go on reciting. That seems to be much more easier. Because then your mind is given an attention, an object. You have got some toy to play with. It can be Om Namah Shivaya or Namo Narayana. It does not matter much. Or O Ram, or Hey Ram. Whatever you choose, your mind is going to a word, and then it is definitely absorbed in that, because it is given a toy. In the other case of meditation, where you are asked not to think about anything, and think about a divine light which you cannot think of, and then you get confused, because the mind gets filled up with all thoughts. It just rushes in. Now we say to you at that time, try to be as indifferent to it as possible. Don't give attention to it. Treat them as uninvited guests. Easily spoken, easily said. It is very difficult when actually you practice. I won't say it is too easy. I won't say it is too complex. But first you have to learn this. Learn to ignore. Learn to ignore many things, because you know that is not what you are seeking for. For that you have got to learn two attitudes. One is you have got to be attentive, and secondly you have got to be alert. Alert to the moments of silence that comes to you, attentive to the moments of silence that comes to you. It is just like a person who waits in a bus stand for a particular friend. He is to pass by that place, and so many people go in the road, so many cars go, so many buses go, so many taxis go, and you are not going to attend to any one of them. You are waiting only for your friend, and your mind is only for him. It is attentive towards him, and it is alert for his presence. You just don't bother about anybody else. Similarly here, when you are in meditation, please develop this attitude. If you develop this attitude, you will be in a better position to meditate for long. Now, as for the actual process of, As for your actual process of controlling of mind, there will be another talk on this subject, where they will be delving deep into this subject. Now I am asked to talk about the efficacy of this system. The efficacy of the system is first, two things have to be taken into consideration. One is your own effort, and there is the help of the master in your meditation. I can say with enormous confidence and practical knowledge about it that this is the only system where we give the assistance of the master throughout your progress. This does not start with a course and then end with giving a mantra after some time, nor by prescribing a method at a particular time, but it is a continuous lifelong association that we seek with you, because you are seeking lifelong association with the Divine, and the Divine must help you throughout. We ensure that you feel the presence of the Divine till the end. This is felt by the Pranahuti, about which Brigadier Krishnaya has talked to you just a few minutes back. He talked about it. Pranahuti is an experience that you will go through and you will know the nearness of God. Everybody has told that God is in the heart. Everybody has told. There is no exception to this. But to make you feel that calmness, even momentarily, was something that was not there in the earlier periods. Here, because of the influx of Pranahuti, you do feel that, and it is for you to feel and practice. So that aspect of it is to be taken into consideration while we discuss the efficacy of Rajayoga in this system. I have a board here, okay. Pen ekkada undamma? Akkada pen unda? If you take your heart into consideration, this is where most of our feelings are. Thoughts, of course, maybe even at the buddhi level, but at the manasic level, all our feelings are there. Manas is where the heart is. Buddhi is connected with the intellect. So actually, we have got intellect, or electric could be buddhi, manas. Manas, I think I'll translate as a feeling aspect. Ahankar, ego feelings. Ego, I would replace it by I feelings. And chitta. There is no equivalent word in English for that, so far as I know. You can use anyone you like. These are all the four components of our mind. This is connected with our school subjects, A plus B whole square. Right? All such knowledge, we can put it straight into that. There's no consequence. There's no feeling connected with it. It's something, some mathematics, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. You know that, you don't know that. People perhaps nowadays recognize people only with this capacity, ignoring the three more. The self-respect aspect of it, these things come here actually. Self. Then the manas is predominant feelings of your body. This is what is guiding us. It is only for satisfying the parents' interest that we go for some course. My father wants me to become an engineer, therefore I become an engineer. My father wants me to be a doctor, I go to a doctor. Right? Because why do you do these things? My wife wants me to do this. Why do you do this? My husband would like that. Most of our actions are governed by this. If you see this, our feelings are directed towards the lower portion. Lower portion means actually your physiological drives of food, water, shelter, our thoughts, our feelings are invariably connected with all these things. Either one of these things. If you can just check up your present state of mind, your thoughts will be connected only with this. And for getting food, you do your job. You have to. Everything is connected with this four. As on date, majority of us are governed by this, and perhaps will ever be governed by it. There is no way out of these things, because so long as life is there, the principle of life depends upon this. There is no chance of getting out of these things. Animals are condemned once and for all for that position. There is no way by which they can change the cycles. When it becomes hungry, it just finds its prey. It has to go and find its food. There is no alternative for it. When it's thirsty, it will go to the nearest possible source of water. When it is on season, it's on heat, it will definitely find its mate. There is no way out of this. There is no chance for an animal to come out of it. Human beings are the only person, only animal, where we are given an option to control them. We know how to control hunger. You feel hungry, but then you wait for the dinner, you wait for the lunch. Your mother says, you take some more time for your food, please wait. We wait. We don't grab it. If you then note whether that is so in your case, and if you are very honest about it, I am sure there must have been occasions when you must have pinched up something out of the kitchen, maybe a fruit, maybe something else, something edible stuff. If nothing else, as the pulses going straight into your mouth. The animal has not left us. Please note this. It is that state of mind which you are trying to control. It is that impulsive state, impulsive nature. Animals are propelled, impelled, compelled. There is no alternative. They have to behave like that. We need not behave like that. God has given us that much of liberty, that much of freedom. But we do not exercise that. Culture, education, social development, all these things we can see, the parameters by which we judge whether a person is advanced or not advanced. We apply these meters. What is his behavior? A tribal fellow, how he behaves. A cannibal, how he behaves. A socially developed person, how he behaves. That is, man has been persistently making efforts to control these urges and then arrived at certain ways of living, which he calls cultured ways. Don't behave like that, they say. You're an animal. Don't try to do that. Why? That is so. In majority of the cases, people have followed now. Present day civilization seems to be moving in another direction of trying to have as much as what we want to satisfy these urges. I don't want to go into the value systems. So that is not the topic. My topic is, how are we going to control these things? However much we try, there are occasions when you fall for this. And of course, you just can't help it. Water is something that you'll be forced to take, and perhaps there is no difficulty in getting it. And this one also, you become slaves to it. That is why these two things have been taken, extraordinary attention has been given to it, the tradition, and they say you must know how to control this. The consequential feeling that you get is when you are asking for some drive satisfaction, you find others also are striving towards the same thing. And there's a conflict. And it leads to rage, anger, confrontation. When more than one person tries for the same object, there is naturally confrontation. And that is what we generally express as growth. One is the calm, another is the growth. So these two things are the two essential factors we have got to control. And they seem to be inbuilt in our animal nature. All my previous discussion is only to point out that we seem to be conditioned by these two things almost. Animals are conditioned, we know that. We also seem to be having no option over this. Other systems of yoga have tried to totally abolish these things. By whatever means it is, suppression, oppression, by way of privation or deprivation. We can use any method by which they try to see that you get away from the family, you go away to the forest, you go and stay in some mountain, get far off from the man, don't get into these situations. Try to be away, as far away as possible. But this system is meant for a grihastha, for a man living here, in the family life. And these two things are the most important drives that you have got to attend to. And you will not be in a position to suppress it. You are not supposed to also. So we always ask here, try to learn moderation. Let the impulsiveness go and let some sanity be there. The institutions of marriage were established only for this. And the institutions of justice were maintained only for this. So that we don't come out. Social solutions. What are our individual solutions for this? To conform to the social institutions. Today, what is our reaction to social institution? You know better. We are trying to question every one of them. We don't want to stand by the judgment of some judge who says you are at fault. Even when he says that it has been established this fellow has murdered Rajiv Gandhi, you would like still an appeal to the president. Nobody is prepared to accept it. Principles of justice is being questioned. I am not going to the minor details. I am talking about the major detail. Only one incident I am telling. Hundreds you can add. Individual positions are like this. In our own house, for no reason we fight with our brother. For no reason we fight with our sisters. For the sake of some object. For the sake of something which you think you deserve more than he or she. All our fights are coming from this. The principles of education, unfortunately, are founded on this. We have got somebody who is first in the class and there is somebody who is last in the class. Whoever has given us that right to distinguish them, I do not know, but that is what education is. Every one of us learn at our own pace. Incidentally, that is the reason why I have got a school which says that is a school for slow learners. We would like everybody to be treated on par. The grace of God is equal and all, and there is no question of superiority or inferiority. The problem is connected with basic instincts. How best can I overtake the other man? In killing him is what we are trying to justify by saying, yes, he is the first man, he is the last man. That is the reason why you have got the word in the marketing today, you say, he had a kill today. What is that word? What disgraceful words we are using to say that we are cultured. So these two things are the fundamental points. On this there is no solution in the tradition as to how to do it. They told so many things. They said be in the good company, be in the good thoughts, try to be with only good people, try to do only good things, try to learn some moral stories, try to live according to those expectations. All these things we have heard. But then man has been more intelligent than those words which expressed some sanity. We have found every way by which we can deceive every one of the Panchatantras. All our itihasas have lost their value. All our Puranas have lost their value. Nobody wants to follow any one of them. We have become intelligent. Our buddhi has gone far beyond. Agreed. There is no doubt about it. But what is the solution still? The problem is there. The problem is sought to be solved by this moderation, principle of moderation. And for that, we have got to lift this mind which goes to the lower mind, the thought force, which flows down, generally goes deep. Some effort has to be made to go up. Tradition has made so many efforts of education and other things. In this system, through Pranahuti, the first effort that is made is the flow of consciousness to the lower mind is sought to be diverted to the upper portion. This is the work of the master which he does. Which he does. You can be rest assured, but you were given two things to do. You are asked to meditate on points A and B, about which more details will be given by my brothers. There are 2 points located in the chest, I think somewhere in the picture is there. That one is not? That is you by yes. There are 2 points A and B on which you are asked to meditate. And if you meditate on these things as prescribed, it is our experience that our impulsive tendencies come down. This is a positive assurance that we give in the system, namely that if you meditate on these 2 as prescribed, with the help of this Pranahuti that is already done, in this system you get the advantage of control over the impulsive tendencies of your basal stuff, the drives. Once you control the drives, or once you can put it under some reasonable control and get rid of the impulsive tendencies, you know you have won 3/4 war of control over ourselves, because that is what exactly is our problem. If you look to yourself and see what type of thoughts that come to you, they are invariably connected to those 4 as I have already said. But it is also true that you have thoughts of aspiration. Fortunately, God has given us a mind which aspires. Aspiration is a word that is applicable only to the human level. No animal can aspire for anything. It has no capacity to think. Even in certain forms of thinking that is there, in some animals like chimpanzee or a dog, they don't aspire for anything. No values. We aspire. What is the first aspiration we have got? The first aspiration we have got is sharing. This as an instinct was already available. This as an instinct is already available in the case of lions and similar prides. They don't eat the food alone, they share. There are animals which share food. There are animals which will not share food. Sharing is not a principle that we accept as aspiration. Just like that, there are animals at the lower level, but instinctually they will give it. I am not talking about the mother's love, which is common. Mother's instinct is entirely different. But this instinct of trying to share food with others is what we have learned with such animals about. That is the reason why we say a lion is the king of animals. Nothing is. There are many, many more powerful animals than lion, which can kill the lion also. But this is the reason. And here, the first principle is a sharing. And this we have developed as an aspiration. And what is it driving at? It drives at trying to give what you think you should have. The physiological drive of hunger is thought to be moderated. You first give your children, then you take. Then you give elders, then you take. You don't take directly. A civilized society is one where the food is shared first with children, then with the elders, then with oneself. So the principle of sharing, which was learned from the animal, instinctual level, we brought it as an aspiration. And we said, in this land, we said if somebody comes to you, you treat that person as an atithi and give him food first and then only you take later. A value which we seem to have almost forgotten today, for whatever reason it may be, that is what it is. Even your relatives are not welcome. And thanks to some certain amount of westernization, do not go to your house without information. And we say, if anybody comes to you without information, treat him as a god. You can see the difference in the value points of the two societies. One society does not want a person to come without intimation. Another society says, if anybody comes to you without intimation, treat him as a god. Right. This is another important thing that you should be very, very careful in meditation. In meditation, what happens is you get certain thoughts, totally uninvited. You have got all sorts of thoughts coming to you, and all of a sudden some thought comes to you. That thought is God, not godly. But we are the first person to miss it. We always will miss the Atiti. Uninvited guest is God always. It is from the Adhyatmika point of view, our people have brought in the tradition to the what we say, the mundane level, day-to-day life. They brought that concept of Atiti. Because the Atiti comes to you more in meditation than elsewhere. There are more sparks of divine during meditation than you can think of, but you can dream of. Because God loves us so much that He is always yawning towards you. He would like to enter into you. And the moment you create a vacuum, He is prepared to fill it. But then we are so attentive to other things, like our going to the market, which takes precedence over our attentiveness to this. That is the reason why we say that please be attentive and alert. Atiti can be recognized only when you are attentive. There are empty number of stories where people, when God has personally visited them, that the stories go, and this man said, no, I've got something else to do, and he forgot. He never attended to them. And it happened to be the wives of some saints. The lady received a guest. It's God Himself who comes, and then she does not recognize him as such, because he came uninvited, uninformed. He came, and then it was left to the saint to recognize later. And poor man, he said, you are more lucky than me. You have seen the God and I have not. So this story is good. It's for you to, these are common knowledge you should know, you should be knowing. My point is, the sharing as a principle develops. Unless this sharing develops, you will not be in a position to develop tolerance. This is another great virtue of this country, which you are maintaining, and we shall forever maintain. Because this is consequent to this. And this comes to you only when you learn how to share and not behave impulsively towards certain things. Impulsive nature, once it's reduced, this becomes natural. A brother of mine was asking, some of us are prepared to share, some of us are not, sir, why is it so? I said, yes, control is not done. Impulsive nature makes you hold it, you don't want to share. And you would like to save it for. Impulsive nature alone is the principle for saving. You would like to have it tomorrow. Saving is a very, very obnoxious idea in spirituality. That is why Prophet Muhammad said, please do not bother about the next day. God is there, He will give you. He was wise. He was wise. And that's why I think he also said, don't try to lend money. He said, give it. If you have got money, give it. Don't lend. Lending is not permitted. It was not permitted by him. Because who are you to lend? Who sees it? It is his. It belongs to the cosmos. Nothing belongs to you. Everything belongs to the universe. Nobody has got a right to say this is mine. Because your existence itself is transient. Now that will come to that later. This sharing principle. And naturally along with it will come service. So these two principles of spirituality will develop the moment you try to be attentive to the upper portion of yourself, the aspiration portion of yourself. This is the first thing that comes to you in this system. Or perhaps these things are not supposed to use for this. So I stress on this viveka and then A and B, these two things are over. Now when you sit in meditation, thinking that there is divine light in the heart. As I told you, you will get a lot of thoughts. But then, when you learn to be attentive only to the divine light and nothing else, everything else fades out. Fades out into nothingness. They don't have any impelling nature to attract your attention. That leads us to understand what exactly I am. Who am I? This who am I question is one of the toughest questions to answer. If any one of you can help me with the definition of what you are, as you understand, I will be very happy. You can at best tell me your name. You can give me your physical description. Your status, financial, official, relationships, as wife, husband, son, father, so on and so forth. Exclude these adjectives and tell me what you are. Kindly exclude these adjectives for yourself and then tell me what you are. You are none of these things, right? I have at least 3 names. One name is Narayan. The other 2 names also were given to me. Most of us among the Hindus, we get more than 1 name. Physical descriptions, I am not the same physical body from childhood. You can't give that. Your weights vary. Your complexion varies. If you see all these things, can you think about yourself other than this? And all these things are transient. All these things are temporary. You are a son one day, you are a father today, you are a grandfather day after. What are you? What are you? In relation to somebody, you are somebody. What are you? This is the first and the foremost question that a man faces in spiritual life. Who am I? And if by God's grace you have already got into the principle of sharing and service, then you will know that I am a person to share, that I am a person to serve. Other than these 2 things, there is nothing else that is permanent with you. These 2 things are permanent with you from your childhood. You are somebody to share, that you are somebody to serve. Who that somebody is, you can call yourself by Narayan or Radhinarayan, or you can call Purushottam, you can call Govinda, it does not matter much by what name you call yourself. But your essential nature is one of sharing and serving. Now that leads us to a metaphysical concept about which I will not be in a position to talk much. God in essence and God in manifestation. God in essence talked briefly earlier, saying that there is no way of knowing Him. He is beyond our understanding. What is God in His essence? He said, we don't know. Divine light without luminosity, we said. We just don't know. Natatra Vagdasi.